All right, we are live for another episode of Real Estate Junkies Podcast. In today's podcast episode, we are going to talk about boosting your real estate game with the power of SEO and podcasting. We're talking about podcasting inside of our podcasting. So, as we sit down with digital marketing guru, as I like to call it, turned real estate team leader, Kris Reid, with a decade of experience under his belt. Kris knows the ins and outs of propelling real estate professionals to the top of their market, leveraging digital marketing. You will understand Kris's journey from digital marketing to running a bustling team of over 20 agents. We will dive deep into the perfect formula for an efficient real estate business marketing, focusing on leveraging SEO and podcasting to attract and retain clients. If you are looking to elevate your real estate presence online and master the art of digital engagement, this is one episode you cannot afford to miss. So join us to transform your real estate strategy and start dominating your market today. Kris, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure having you, brother.
Thank you so much. Coming to you from across the pond over in Valencia in Spain. Good to be here.
Let's go. So, Kris, I want to get right into it and kind of start off with your journey, right? And we were talking on the backstage, and you were telling me how you've been involved in digital marketing space for a while, and you were serving real estate teams. So that's what inspired you to get into real estate yourself. Tell me a little bit about your journey. How'd you get involved in digital marketing? What was your success like there? And how'd you get involved working with realtors? And what are the results that were you able to get them?
Yeah, so quick me in the nutshell. I'm originally from Australia, studied software engineering at university. And there's two ways to make money as a software engineer. You either move to Silicon Valley and work for a tech startup, or you go work in finance. I took the finance route, moved to London, got paid loads of money, thinking, man, life is awesome. Until 2008 came around and the world changed. And I lost my job, and so did everyone else I knew. And I was like, awesome. So I went back to Australia with my tail between my legs going, great, I'm in my mid-20s and my life is over. What am I going to do? And so I started building some websites, just playing around with the internet, and started learning how to get traffic to those websites, and went, wow, that's pretty cool. And I ended up doing digital marketing, SEO primarily, search engine optimization, which is basically getting websites to rank high in Google. And man, I was like, I always heard the term, riches are in the niches, even though it should be pronounced niches, but
niches.
That's another thing. But I was like, man, we can do this for any company. I don't want to put myself in one little niche. We did it for dog walkers to corporate lawyers to you name it, we've worked in it. And that makes it really freaking difficult because you have to learn about that business. You have to learn about what their customers are searching for, how to write the content, how to convert that traffic. It's difficult.
Yep.
And then eventually it was actually a podcast, Reid Goossen's podcast, who does multi-family syndication. Someone invited me on that, and I talked to him, and then we did some work together. I went, wow, this real estate world's pretty interesting. And then I went on a bunch of real estate podcasts, got a bunch of real estate clients. Ended up working with this one young lady called Avery Carl, who's from the short-term shop, EXP agent. And the first year she was with us, she did 53 million in production. The next year she did, from memory, 126, which is pretty good growth. Yeah. The next year she did 621 million.
No
and
way.
The year after that, she became EXP's number one team with 1,066 million in production.
That is amazing. I actually met her at EXP Con last year.
She is just an amazing woman. She's so cool. And I remember years ago saying to Avery, you're on track to be the number one realtor in the US. She's like, I don't want to be the number one realtor. I want to spend more time with my kids. And she does, she's like, she takes bought the biggest RV you've ever damn seen, takes the whole summer off, travels around the country with her husband and kids. She's the football coach of both the two young kids, little football teams. She's living her best life and growing like a rocket ship because she invests in team, hires people to do stuff for her, and it works really well. And after seeing that, we've been working together 5-6 years now. I'm like, well, your income has 20x'd since we've been together.
Wow.
You're not paying us 20 times as much. I wish you were.
Not paying the same much.
That's why I jumped the fence, joined EXP Realty myself. We built out our own real estate team and basically doing what we do for clients for years for our own agents. And well, we get paid twice, right? We get paid through rev share and we get paid a referral.
That's
commission.
amazing.
So,
That's a pretty great model. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Kris, can you explain? Obviously, this is something all agents need to be leveraging, right? SEO. Can you explain the fundamental principles of SEO for realtors who are new to digital marketing and how it can transform their online presence?
Yeah, so like most people start their if your brother's not a realtor or your best friend's not a realtor, you're going to start you want to buy or sell a house, you're going to start online, right? People go to Zillow, people go to Facebook, YouTube, whatever, but most people start any search for whatever they're looking at Google. And if you look at the search volume for homes for sale and city name or homes for sale near me is the number one search term. And you look at any city in America and it'll blow your mind of the search. It's just like gazillions of searches. And real estate's such a high value per client that you don't need to have 1 million people. You don't need to build Zillow. Like if you search homes for sale near me and pretty much anywhere in America, Zillow's number one. Zillow absolutely kicks on at SEO. They're doing really good. But you don't want to go toe-to-toe with them. Like say you're in Atlanta, you're not going to beat Zillow at Homes for Sale Atlanta. And it's silly, like, because if you look at the search terms, right, some people, there will be search volume for Homes for Sale Georgia. If someone's searching for Homes for Sale Georgia, like the chances that you're actually going to convert that is pretty low because they don't even know what city they're looking at. Even Homes for Sale Atlanta, it's so broad. Atlanta's freaking massive.
Neighborhood.
Right? So you want to niche down. Riches are in the niches. And if you focus on just little suburbs, I don't know Atlanta so well, but homes sale on the south side of Atlanta, between 300,000 and 400,000 with a pool. Like it's like the search volume for that is going to be rather small, but you don't need that many people. You have a handful of people come to that page every month. A few
reach out
contact you and one buys a house. Well, it was way worth doing it, right?
Yeah.
And the beauty of SEO is it's compounding. Like you write content, you post content, you rank content, it stays there. Like the work that we did for Avery 5 years ago, she's still getting paid for it.
Wow.
Because it still ranks, it still gives you stuff. Like SEO is just a way better long-term investment than any other form of marketing. Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, they work. I mean, that's why Google's a multi-trillion-dollar company. Facebook's not far behind it. YouTube, I believe, actually would be losing money if it was an individual company. So I don't know about YouTube ads. But, ads, as soon as you stop spending, you stop getting. Social media works, but you need to post constantly and it just disappears. Even podcasting is great for like instant stuff because you post it, you syndicate it, you send it out, it gets traction. It's great to get leads coming in straight away, but your podcast is going to fade into oblivion. It's no one's going to watch. Like even look at someone giant like Mr. Beast, right? He's released an episode and 100 million people watch it. No one's watching his old stuff. And no one's going to watch that video in a year, 2 years, 3 years. So it doesn't have that same effect. So like that's why SEO is such a great investment, but it takes a long time. And so that's where you leverage podcasting to help SEO, but get customers instantly. So I was reading a statistic the other day, like 82%, I think it is, 82% of residential real estate transactions in the US are done through referrals. A referral partnership, which is like crazy. That's essentially all of them, right? And so one of the great things you can do with podcasting is you build a referral network. So, if you do one podcast a week and you're speaking to people in your area, like, mortgage brokers, insurance brokers.
Become the mayor, right? Like your mayor, your school board members. Like this is the stuff we teach our agents in our academy.
Exactly. So you're making 52 relationships over the year. 52 referral partners. If each one of them sends you one freaking referral, it's like what? You think you're not going to close enough deals to make it way worth your time? Plus, at the same time, you're building content that's relevant for your business. If you want to dominate South Atlanta or wherever the heck you are, these are the people that have all the knowledge that your customers want. So we've done exactly that. I'm a licensed agent, but I've never sold a house in my life. I live in Spain. It's pretty hard to sell a house in the US when you're in Spain, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a brand.
So you're licensed in US or you're licensed in Spain?
Yeah, I'm licensed in Massachusetts.
No way. Why not Spain?
Well, because there's with EXP, with the rev share, there is a difference in the overseas. Like you don't get the 7th level. I believe that's it.
Wow.
And thankfully, my parents moved me to the US when I was a little kid.
Okay.
So I went to school there in the 80s, and they were giving everyone social security numbers back then. So I was able to get a license.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, it's interesting how life works, huh? They knew you you needed to come to EXP, so they took you there when you were little.
That's right. But so what we've done is built the Icons Real Estate brand. I've never sold a house in my life, and so I don't have the knowledge of. I don't know how to do an open house. I've never done one. And so what we do is we interview the top-notch real estate agents about how to do an open house, how to do everything you need to run a residential real estate business, providing the content for our ideal clients, which is residential real estate agents. They come to our page because they're searching how to do an open house. They go, wow, this is great content. They see the stuff that we do, and boom, you generate leads. And so it's the same if you're a real estate agent. Speak to the other people that homeowners are searching for that stuff, provide great content, make referral partners. Happy days.
And this podcast episode itself, right? Like this is exactly what we are doing. Well, why am I doing a podcast? Because I don't have work to do. This is work in itself, right? This is what brings us clients, right? To our academy for agents that we have, the agents that we train and coach agents. A lot of them come through. They watch either our live or episode on our channels. And we ask them all the time, how'd you hear about us? Oh, I watched your episode with so-and-so and so-and-so, right? So this is kind of like tapping into someone else's influence and marketing to someone else's influence without buying their influence, right? So now in your experience, going back to SEO conversation, because I truly believe that is today's day and age, whether it is your YouTube channel or even your podcast descriptions and your now, meta platforms are going into SEO, right? So what are the most common SEO mistakes that realtors are making on their websites, on their digital platforms, and how can they fix them?
Yeah, most people just don't even do it at all. That's like, it's a green field. There's no market. Like most realtors, if they have a website, it sucks. And
if they have a website, I think that's a very big if.
Yeah, and even if they do, I mean, some people do have a pretty website and they've spent 30 grand or 50 grand with some web designer making some pretty thing that ranks for nothing. Because
I should start advertising free website. $30,000 on a website? Are you kidding me?
I hear that all the time. That's what web designers will charge you, because they make things pretty. And it's one thing that you hear, like entrepreneurs, they get all caught up in building a logo or making a business card. It's like, no one gives a crap about your business card, dude. It's about handing those business cards out and making connections. And that's the same thing. Who gives a crap about how beautiful your website is? Like Avery, the client that I mentioned, her website's still pretty ugly. We didn't design it. We ranked the crap out of it. In fact, just last week, we were having a chat about maybe it's time we make it pretty. It's like it ranks really well, but it's the ugliest website on the planet will convert if it has enough traffic. And so you need to just focus on traffic, focus on the content, and like I was just on a conversation right before I jumped on with you, and the guy was asking me, well, what's the biggest mistake people make? And it's that they write content that has no search volume. Like I was showing him an article. It's a fantastic article. It's by this company called Ahrefs, which is the industry authority. And I'll just the title of the article is 96.55% of content gets zero traffic from Google. 96.5% of content gets zero traffic from Google. These guys analyzed how many? 14 billion pages. 14 billion pages. And the number one problem,
AI analysis.
Oh, I mean, they've got a huge. They do data mining. That's what they're super good at. But the number one reason that content gets no traffic is the topic has no search demand. People are just writing things because they think it's cool. If
Yeah.
no one's searching for it,
Yeah.
it's not going to rank for anything.
Yep.
So it's if you want to do SEO, you need to go backwards.
Yeah.
But really, like, why the hell would you do it yourself? You make so much money selling a house, go out and sell a freaking house and pay someone else to do it. It's the same with
Yeah.
doing podcast
Yeah.
production. Why do it yourself? Go out and sell a freaking house and pay someone else to do it. Stay what you'll get at. Anyone that does multiple things is going to do it bad. You know?
Yep. So now we know content is king when it comes to digital world, right? Digital marketing, and you guys have figured out the formula of what content works and what doesn't, right? So what type of content should realtors focus on creating to improve their SEO and attract more potential clients?
Well, so the first thing is you need to make sure the topic has some search intent, that people are actually searching for that. A simple way you could do that is search for it yourself and see if there's any other articles that come up. If no one's written about it before, there's probably no one searching for it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you don't have any backlinks. So backlinks are the secret of how Google works. A backlink is simply a link from one website to another back to your website. That's why it's called a backlink. And that's how Google trusts you. Because, there's lots of sneaky crap going on out on the internet. I can make beautiful websites and I can say I'm the best realtor in Atlanta today. How would Google know if that's true or not? They can't trust what people say because people talk crap. So they have to trust what other people are saying about you. And they do that by who is linking to you. So the more backlinks you have, the more trust you have. And that's another way why podcasting and SEO work hand in hand. Because you imagine you've got a local podcast where you're interviewing local people, as you said, becoming the town mayor, you have 52 backlinks from local, the best backlinks you can have are from big brands. But they need to be niche relevant, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a real estate agent and you've got a corporate attorney linking to you or, Sony Music, it doesn't make any sense. They're like, Google goes, why? Sony's a big authority, but what the hell do they know about real estate? If Zillow or EXP Realty is linking to you, wow, that's real good. Yeah. But if you're looking for local keywords, which you probably are, you're looking for homes for sale all around my little area that I focus on. So the best backlinks you can have are from other service providers in that area. Plumbers, electricians, general contractors, landscapers, mortgage brokers in those areas. So if you're having interviews with these people going, hey, tell us about the mortgage rates in South Atlanta, or hey, general contractor, tell us about how to improve their home value in South Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then you're providing content for your website that your ideal customer is searching for, plus they're going to give you a backlink. So that's content that's got good search intent, plus you're going to get the trust authority for Google.
No, I mean, you answered my question before I even asked it, and backlinks it comes up quite often when it comes to SEO conversations. Could you explain the importance of you did a little bit, but I want to dive a little deeper. What does backlinking mean? What does it look like? Just give us a secret. Like how do you do it, right? And what does it look like when it comes to application?
Sure. I mean, if there's any old people listening, then you might remember the 90s when the internet was growing and search engines were crap. There was, Alta Vista, Excite, Yahoo. They were all rubbish. They were total rubbish. And the internet was just so small compared to it is today, right? And then
just
Google
like ChatGPT now for AI, right?
yeah. But Google, Larry Page invented the PageRank algorithm, and that's based on backlinks. He ascertained that just like if you do a thesis at university and lots of people link to your thesis, so they reference your thesis, well, your thesis must be really good. And he did the data of that. Okay, if a thesis has lots of citations that people are referencing it, it's a really good thesis. He went, well, it must be the same with websites. If everyone's referencing your website, linking back to your website, it must be really credible. And that's how Google's algorithm started, and it's still how it works today. So it's basically just someone that's linking back to your website. So, if a mortgage broker has, hey, here's our trusted partner, and has an article about, your real estate company and a link back to your website, then Google picks up that link and goes, There's a
Oh,
real estate mortgage
yeah.
broking company that's linking
Mhm.
to you. That's one tick of credibility.
Yeah. Nice. So how can realtors measure their success of their SEO efforts, and what tools or metrics do you recommend they pay attention to?
Is how many sales you make. That's all that matters, man. Who cares about vanity
Are you
metrics
getting
and like,
traffic or not, right?
yeah, who gives a crap how much traffic you get? It's that you're getting leads and that those leads are converting.
Yeah.
If you're selling houses, then happy
Mm.
freaking days. If you're
Yeah.
getting crappy leads that are filling up your pipeline, it just make you busy, and
Yeah.
it's not fun either. That
Yeah.
traffic's just a vanity metrics. It's like likes on Facebook or views on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
take those
Reach,
views to the
or,
bank.
people brag about their reach and impressions, right? Like 1,000 people see your post, then none of them, they're all under 18-year-old. For a realtor, doesn't make any
Who
difference,
gives a
right?
crap? And that's those vanity metrics are what people can get caught up on. And then like a podcast or a post, it doesn't have to have 1,000 people look at it. If 3 people see it, one
Ah,
connects and buys a house, happy
yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
days. It was
Yeah.
worth doing, right?
Yeah.
Like that's all that you need. And that's why I love the real estate market, is that there's just such high value per client that
Mm.
your post can have 10 views and it's
Yeah.
way worth doing,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah,
selling
imagine
dog
imagine if
biscuits.
you got, like, you got featured on a podcast like you are right now on this podcast. We get 25 views, and one person is like, you know what, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I need to reach out to him. He reaches out to you, and you have business. Versus realtors now, right? Like, you go get featured. Realtors go, instead of, they could do their own podcast obviously, but another easy way is, without doing any work, you go reach out to other people who have podcasts, get featured on their podcast, and like, hey, you talk about investing in, let's just say in my market, I would talk about investing in Detroit, and someone from Atlanta or someone from Spain hears it. We have a lot of international clients who invest here, who hears it, who are like, oh, I need to reach out to this guy. Reaches out to me. $10,000 payday, $15,000 payday, right? Just for 15 views on my podcast that I did on someone else's, and it doesn't have to be, I think, so moving on to the podcasting conversation, right? How can real estate professionals use podcasting as a tool? And I know you talked about it a little bit. Now I want to dive deeper into the podcasting conversation and enhance their brand, enhance their authority in their market, and reach a wider audience.
Yeah,
Like,
so
give us,
guesting on podcasts is great. Like, I'm guesting right now.
yeah,
All you have to do is turn up and talk, and you're talking about what you do all day long. So it's like it's such an easy conversation. It's like, and it's the same for real estate agents. It's not like
yeah,
they're asking you about thermodynamics or something. They're asking you about real estate in your market. So it's pretty easy conversation, right? The problem with guesting on podcasts for a real estate agent is that you sell real estate in a local market.
mm,
Chances are the podcast not in the local market.
true,
So
yeah,
someone listening to it's probably unlikely that they're going to buy a house in your area or that they're looking to buy a house now. That being said, it still builds your authority. It gives you stuff to post on your socials. It's rather than buy a house. It's like, hey, check me
yeah,
out on this cool podcast.
yeah.
It keeps people top of mind.
Builds
Even if they
authority for
don't,
sure.
yeah, even if they don't listen to it, they see it.
Mhm.
I have all the time, I'll jump on a sales call with someone. They'll go, I just listened to 3 or 4 podcasts you're on. I'm like, geez, I say the same crap on every one. Like, that must have been dull. But they jump on, they understand who you are. And
Yeah.
they people buy from those that they know, like, and trust, right? And
Mhm.
so, well, they knew you because they met the podcast, but now they start to like you and trust you. Otherwise, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have booked a call, right? So it very much helps you make that sale. But really, building a local podcast, it's not hard to be the mayor of your town because
Yeah.
chances are no one else is doing it.
Yes.
And even if
Not
they
chances, guarantees are no one else is doing it.
even if they are, like, you could be the second best podcast in your town.
Yeah.
You think there's not enough room in your market? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Look, this is how I look at podcasting, right? It's that, you mentioned that, hey, especially when I started, right? So I started with doing my own, like, live videos, right? Myself, without any guests. And then I'm like, hey, why don't I bring guests, tap into their market, their influence? So I started doing that. And then I'm like, okay, I'm already doing it. Might as well call it a podcast. So I started calling it a podcast. But as soon as I started calling it a podcast, everyone started looking at me differently. Even though I'm still the same person, nothing changed, right? But then when I started going on other people's podcasts, see, it is true. that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. But in 2024, it's on a different level. People buy from people that are known, liked, and trusted by people that they know, like, and trust, right? So it's social proof. When you go
Mm,
on a podcast that someone has been a dedicated listener to, they're a raving fan of the podcast, automatically they are a raving fan of you, or at least they're curious about what you do, right? So that's why it's so, and it's like, if you come into my academy, you will like find out, like, every week I have a pitch of like trying to have a new person launch their podcast, right? And I start them off small, as like, hey, just start with one live a week, right? Just go live, talk about it, right? So it gives a different feeling than just your regular video that's gonna disappear. Live
mhm.
videos have way more traction on social media when it comes to social media marketing than your regular video that you post without live, right? So now, in terms of content, what are some engaging topics or formats the real estate agents can explore on their podcast to keep their audience interested? And it's interesting that you talked about, and well, I want to get into that too, the local market with podcasts, and get their audience to come back for more. What are some of the topics that you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, just the conversations that you're having every day with clients. Like, you
Mhm.
want to answer questions before they come up. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
earlier we were talking about something, and you said, "Oh, you answered my question before it came up." Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've done this. I've had this conversation before, and so
Uh-huh.
it's the same thing. Like, if you're constantly having clients come to you, go, "Hey, is this area going to go up in value? Is this area going to go down? You know, there's a new school going over there."
Yeah.
Talk about that stuff. How are
Mm,
mortgage rates? Like,
mm,
just the
mm.
questions that you
Yeah.
constantly get
Yeah.
in every day, that's
Yeah.
exactly what your audience wants to know. So give them the content before they have to ask you.
Yeah. For example, NAR settlement, right? Every buyer or seller right now is either fearful or thinking about it. Like, what should I know, right? And this morning, actually, in our coaching call, one of the agents that are in our academy that were kind of having a conversation, that he does FISBO, expired for sale by owners, and expired prospecting. And he was like, oh, these days it seems like they're not interested, they're even not more interested, right? And I'm like, okay, so if you are still using the same intro, same outro in your conversation, switch it up a little bit if you're getting even more rejected than before the NAR settlement thing. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, how about, potentially, I could only guess, like, they're doing that now because of the changed climate. Anytime there is a shift in the market, consumers will always react. Whether we react or not, reality is consumers will react. So why don't, instead of reacting to reaction of consumers, why don't we control that narrative? Instead of like reacting to, oh, now they're uh more for FISBOs and expires are rejecting more calls, or hanging up more than before, let's try something else instead. How about you call them and start with the NAR conversation? Hey, just wanted to, hey, I see your house just hit the market hit the market. Just wanted to have a conversation around the whole NAR settlement. What are your thoughts? Right? Like, that would actually get you more engagement than to be rejected because of it. It's actually an
Mm.
opportunity rather than, so it's like, when it comes to topics, anytime there is any shift in the market, rates just went up, what does it mean for the consumers? Rates just went down, what does it mean for the consumer? You could literally not run out of topics to talk about that are relevant. Inflations keep rising, what does it mean for the consumers? The local bridge, Baltimore just had their bridge collapse, right?
Yeah,
Like, every local area in every real estate market could be talking about that, right? Because it's something that just came up that everyone knows about, and you can instantly, it's kind of like tapping into an influence that's already there, but it's not a human influence, it's a topic influence, right? So when you are talking about it, you become relevant.
for sure. And it's so easy because you're already expert at it, right? Like, it's not like you have to invent stuff. You just talk
Yeah.
about what you do all day long. Because that's the problem with sales, right? Is the buyer is uneducated, and you have to bring them up to this level. Like, SEO is a hard sell because
Mhm.
you have to educate the buyer, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of technical stuff that goes on, and you have to
exactly.
try and explain to them without getting too in the weeds, or they'll
Yeah.
go, "Oh, this is just bonkers."
Yeah.
But it's the same with selling houses. You need to educate the buyer without blowing their mind, but you just talk about what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So now, how can realtors integrate? Let's talk about SEO and podcasting, right? A little bit more into details. Integrate their podcast content into their overall SEO strategy to maximize their online visibility and credibility.
Yeah, so exactly what we're talking about, right? Is talk about as a search topic. How are
Yeah,
mortgage rates in South Detroit?
yeah,
Are they going up? How's inflation in South Detroit?
mm,
Talk about that topic and write the content, and that gives longevity to your podcast episode as well. Rather than you post on Facebook or YouTube and it goes into the ether and you never see it
yeah,
again,
yeah,
you put it on your website as well. You write an
mm,
article about that topic. It ranks in Google, brings in new visitors, even if it's
mm,
just a handful of visitors. But it's
yeah,
month after month, year after year.
mm. Yeah. So what we teach is we have these 20 different formats of like coming up with topic like living cost in certain city, right? That by itself could be like you could do each city in your area, right? So that's a lot, right? The living, because people are searching living cost in certain, like if you're moving somewhere, you want to see what is the living cost there, right? Living in this city versus that city. uh Three reasons
If
why
you if you got people moving all the time from one city, like Florida, you got
yeah,
the snowbirds coming down, then
yeah,
yeah, you could totally talk about
yeah.
heck, there's where you can even interview someone from Boston and go, hey, how's the
Uh-huh.
weather up there?
Yeah, for sure. And three reasons why move to this city, because everyone's searching move to certain area, right? So there we have like these 21.
Before I moved to Spain, I actually searched for international schools in Spain and up on a realtor's website. I had all of
Wow,
the best
let's
international schools. I'm
go.
like, this dude knows what he's doing, right?
Gotta hire him. Doesn't matter if he sold another house or not, because he's good at
He's good at SEO.
That's amazing. But I love this conversation, and there is a lot of agents that are like, obviously look at yourself, right? You're building an organization based on your knowledge on digital marketing. There's such a big gap in the market where you got Zillow becoming brokerage, right? So if real estate agents don't take this seriously, and it's not that hard, you come up with, you do, our framework is so simple that we teach how to create omnipresence and rank yourself higher. Is you do one live a week on specific topics, so it will help you with SEO. And then you use, like, 15-minute conversation. It doesn't have to be 1 year. 15-minute conversation, whether you get a guest or not, you get a guest, you actually expand yourself more. But 15-minute conversation with your audience, and using that long form content, post it. Obviously you go live, so you're on, right now we are live on Instagram, we are live on LinkedIn, we're live on Twitter, we are live on 2 different Facebook groups, we're live on my personal Facebook. All those audience right now are looking, right? Like, at least got notified that I was live, right? Whether they came or not. So that's one checkbox. Okay, I appeared this week in front of my audience. They saw me going live. They know I'm alive. They find me relevant. Now, the second is topic itself, right? Whatever you're talking about, depending on how you titled it, how you introduced it, they will tune in, right? Whether it is for 1 minute, it doesn't matter. They will hear you speak, right? Then you take the long form content and it lives in your YouTube, and you ask SEO optimized description and everything. So this can become searchable. Then you use Opus Clip to break it into short form reels, right? So a 15-minute video can be a 7-minute video. If you put it in Opus Clip, it will give you 20 short form reels. That's what we do with this content, right? And then you post it. Now, if you got a guest, you tag them on the live video, so it shows up on their profile and your profile, right? You're collaborating on content. If you got a guest, you are posting reels every time you post reels. So let's just say you got 20 short form content from one long form content, right? And you're not doing any editing, it's happening by itself with the caption and everything. Every time you post it, you add them as a collaborator. They're getting free content, so they accept the collaboration. So now you show up on their feed, on their followers' feed, and automatically you are tapping into their influence, right? Now, beyond this, right? After all of this just happened, you don't have to stop. you recycle this content over and over again. I mean, I've been doing podcasts for 2 years. I have over 100 episodes, probably over 1,000 shorts that we recycle. Audience don't know like that I posted this 1 year ago, right? So you can have an endless army. Now with blogging, I think that we could do great with blogging and everything that you guys are doing on your end on ranking. Now let's say someone was to start brand new. I want to end with this, right? Someone was to start brand new, and I'm focusing on agents that either have a non-existent presence digitally or is starting in business altogether brand new, right? Where do they start? What is your advice with them? What is this place for them to start with?
Yeah, I mean, where your people looking the best? I mean, Google takes a lot longer. If you're a younger person, people buy from those that they like, right?
Yeah,
If you're in your 20s, you're probably going to be selling to people in their 20s. If you're
yeah,
probably in your 50s or 60s, you probably sell people in your 50s and 60s. So if you're an older agent, I'd work with older platforms. Like, do young people use Facebook anymore? Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. The
if you're young,
millennials and older only on Facebook.
so yes, stick to where your audience is and work there before you try and take over the world, right?
Yeah, amazing advice. Thank you, Kris, for everything that you have shared. And those of you who are interested in leveraging SEO, getting some traffic on your website, if you have one, if you don't have one, reach out to Kris and stick around, Kris, for I want to have more conversation with you. And those of you who are listening in, as always, these episodes are sponsored by Boss Agents Academy, where we help agents and brokers reach more people, change more lives, and create freedom. Until next one. Thank you.